Nick-a-wick.
Woohoo!
Do you know something? We're always contemplating and thinking about, and let's put this out there. The reason we started the podcast, it was really about inspiring others and also about getting involved in your community. And, sometimes I think to myself, it's such a volatile world at the moment, wherever you look, whatever piece of news you pick up. Ultimately, if you can just start with your community, it's the best place to start.
I couldn't agree with you anymore, Di. And, how lucky am I? Because I've got you at my back fence with the name over the back fence. Funny. So for once, I'm sure you know, and you've heard it so many times, but we do share a back fence.
Weren't we? And someone said the other day, didn't they? We play locally at our local golf club. And didn't someone say
you're kidding. You work together, you golf together, you live your back neighbours together. And yes, last night we actually did have a drink together with another friend. But it's to the point of going, if you can't help the person at your back fence, if you can't help sort of like the people in your area, your community there, it does start there.
100%.
And the world is, it's a global, we're all connected and we do want to help everybody, and everyone's connected.
I'm sick of excuses, to be honest.
Yeah, but it does start.
Because there's people that are lonely out there that they say, I've got nothing. I've got, there's no drive. And sure, there's mental health issues. I understand that. But if you wish, they've proven now, if you want to be healthy and live longer, step into your community, get involved, work and or volunteer. It's a great place to start to meet people and get involved.
Yeah, it really is. And, and some people are shy and some people don't know where to start. So even if you're listening here, it can be a simple thing. We can help you and put you into different directions of different ones there where you can volunteer. We have volunteer and those things. So by helping others, you can help yourself as well.
Absolutely.
So it really is sort of like in the neighbourhoods, it starts there and then that ripple effect goes on. So we want a helping hand. Who can give us that?
Good. And on that note,
how many times have you heard that?
Music. Today, we're diving into a topic that's often overlooked, but one that touches so many lives. We started this podcast to spark real conversations and share stories that uplift, even when they come from life's tougher moments. Our guest today is Narelle Hand, who's the CEO of the Northern Beaches Women's Shelter.
In our hood,
yes. A place that offers more than just a roof. They support women facing domestic violence, financial hardship, mental health struggles, or family breakdown. They help them rebuild with kindness, community, and compassion. It's a story of challenge, but also of hope and transformation. So there's positive notes all the way through this. So let's welcome Narelle Hand to our back fence.
Thank you.
Yay, welcome
Welcome
Narelle.
aboard.
And thank you
so
straight
much.
up for everything you do. But let's know a little bit about you. Tell us a little bit about, the behind the scenes. Yeah, who's Narelle?
Who's Narelle? Well, helping hand, that's quite funny because I do get that a lot.
You must, yes.
I love it.
It does.
Yeah.
It does kind of go together.
Is it painful?
A little bit. When I was,
sorry.
It's my married name, so that's okay. But I suppose it does represent who I am because I think that, there's nothing better than being able to provide some support or help to someone. And I suppose that's why I work in social science or, working in the helping professional. I suppose I've been doing this a long time and I just have so much belief in the transformation of change and what's possible for people. And I get the privilege to see that change happening in our services with people that come to us at times, sometimes during their lowest point in their lives. And we have the privilege of seeing that person rebuild themselves, rebuild their confidence and flourish and fly. Wow. And that fills my cup. Have an incredible team. I always feel like find your purpose, find the thing that you absolutely love, and then do it a lot.
What's your line?
Well, do what you love what you do.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah.
same.
Totally.
It is, and I think we've all got different things that kind of give us joy. And for me, human services, I love being with people.
Have you always been involved in that arena?
Yes,
what is your background?
Yeah, look, I think, no, I haven't always. I suppose I've always been, I love people. I've always been in the people sort of business.
Gift.
I started in retail, then I worked in marketing. I did.
They're all people industries.
It's kind of like I was always doing like sales type, and I ended up being a sales director. And then one day I just woke up, and it was actually when I had my child, who's now 26, that I told you. I wanted to. All of a sudden, it was more around what is my purpose, what am I doing, and what do I want to do? And so I went and retrained, and
I love that.
I worked I worked in early childhood, and my first connection was that when I was running a little centre in Balgala, I took some children from the Refuge, and those kids were the most amazing, beautiful children, and all of a sudden I went, I really want to do something like that. I really want to be involved in working with families that have had a lot of challenges and vulnerability, and I want to help them however I can. So that was my learning journey, and I started to retrain, and I did my Bachelor of Social Science, Social Welfare. Since then I've done multiple things, counselling and leadership. But I started in our own backyard, working in a refuge in our area, not the one I run now. And I was a child support worker.
Oh, okay. So you're a child support worker.
So
but what does that entail?
Look, that's really, so when families come into refuges, the mother is allocated, I suppose, a woman's worker, and the children have their own worker. And so you work with the kids around their healing journey. And it's really important work because children that have experienced domestic and family violence, when they come into services, they're going through their own trauma, they're going through their own recovery. And so having that specialist worker to support them is really important.
But I love, just back to you for a moment too, is that I love also at the stage that you had a personal transformation, you've had your daughter, and all of a sudden you're going, I want something really with purpose. And just for our listeners, they're going, you can restart, you can retrain, you can do, just because you're in one profession or one area, or you haven't learnt anything, or you've been a mum, full-time mum, at all stages of your life, whether in your 30s or ages, 60s, whatever, you can 70s, you can restart. So, you know, that in itself is a big tick.
We interviewed a woman, 103, was late for the interview because she was cycling.
You know. Doctors,
so
we're going to replay that one.
Age.
I know. Wow.
Start and retrain and regroup at any age, and I love that. So tell us about the Northern Beaches Women's Shelter. What is it? How does it operate? Being the CEO, like wow. Where do you start with that?
Look, I think the service started in 2010, and I mean, we're coming up to our 16th year now, but we were started because there were a number of people that were presenting at the Manly Community Centre that were homeless, single adult women. And there was a woman working there by the name of Ellie Hunt, who was a volunteer from our community. And she was like, oh my gosh, we've got all these people coming to the service that are homeless. We've got all these single women. What's happening? Where are they going to be housed? And so she talked to her husband, who was in the financial industry, Peter Hunt, and Ellie and Peter became the founders of the first Manly Women's Shelters. They rallied the community, they worked with the council, they got some social work students to come in and look at, you know, what was actually happening, and they realised there was about 400 people, single women a year, that were being turned away, that were homeless.
And just for our listeners too, it just shows how it can happen in your backyard. I mean, it's a global issue, but also so Manly is a pretty, you know, affluent area as well too. You wouldn't actually, you know, like expect the unexpected, but just sort of shows it's everywhere.
Is it 400 women with children, or is it in total children with women that you were referring to?
Well, that was back in 2010, so there was like 400 people that were being turned away, and they were just single adult women that had nowhere to go.
Okay.
And there wasn't a single adult women's service back in those days.
No, this is fascinating.
Yeah, so Ellie and Peter, they rallied the community, they raised money, and we got the first 2 Manly Women's Shelter houses. Since then, 16 years down the track, we have 3 large services. So we have 4 houses in the Manly area that we provide crisis accommodation for women, single adult women. We also have Border House in the Pittwater area, which is for women and children. And I currently have Narrabeen House, which is a meanwhile use transitional housing property, which I think
was lovely. It was donated from the Moran family. It's beautiful.
Yes,
Beautiful, beautiful. I know Shane.
What an amazing opportunity. And, you know, I think, you know, that property was sitting there vacant for about a year and a half.
How many rooms?
90.
Wow.
Oh, that's a house.
That's the bomb. I'm loving this.
No small feet, ladies.
No, it's fabulous. Even if it was 9 rooms, it'd be gold, but 90,
Exactly.
wow.
Yeah. I mean, in my service still now, we're turning away 397 women a year. Exactly.
Okay, everyone needs to absorb that.
I know, it's a big
Okay,
figure,
with
isn't
all
it?
the work these guys are doing,
Yeah.
with 90 rooms in just one of the houses,
Yeah.
you're turning away?
397 women or women with children a year that are trying to access support and service from our organisation.
And how does that feel as an organisation? Sorry, we can't help you. I mean,
Yeah,
how do you
shameful.
deal with that? Personally, you're telling me and I'm finding that hard to fathom. You know, how do you deal with that?
Yeah, I think for me, and that's going back to that question around being the CEO, my job is to continually look for innovations and opportunities so that we can find as many accommodation options as possible. So I always say to the girls, it's not no, it's how. So, how do we kind of work through that problem?
Like that.
So whatever we're presented with, we've got to be solution focused in finding alternatives or housing options. And, meanwhile use is a great way. While there is something sitting there that is vacant, it could be used for another purpose. And for an organisation like mine, 2 years of a facility of that size can house so many people, and it can be the gap between the person putting in an application or looking for longer term housing to the housing being provided. On the Northern Beaches, it takes about 2 to 5 years for priority housing, even if you get the highest criteria of approval.
Yeah.
But what do you do while you're waiting that 2 years? Yeah. You don't want to be returning to homelessness people that are approved for housing.
What's it like in the shelters? Tell us so listeners
Give us
kind
a
of
day in
know.
the life of
Yes.
someone approaching you with 2 kids.
Yeah.
And
they're homeless.
Yeah.
And they've been either abused in some form, whether it's control or physical, or they have mental health issues, whatever. Give us a day in the life of them turning up with a bag and 2 kids. What's the processing? How does it?
And then what's
because
the facilities like?
begin to
Yeah.
understand.
It is. And you know what? I think you've hit the key point. What we have to do is create a warmth and a rapport and a psychological safety for that person, because we can't do a tour of the shelter.
No.
We can't sort of showcase this is what it's going to look like, this is your room, all those sorts of things. So I have this belief, and my team are completely on board. From the minute we pick up the phone, we're telling that person, you are valued, you are cared for, you are loved. In the way that we open the door, in the way that we answer the phone, in the way that we
and how
greet them.
respectful and giving them dignity as well.
100%.
So from this point on, from the phone call, they're feeling an element of they're in a held space.
100%.
I'm
it's
loving
like
it.
I have to put my resident hat on as to what would this feel like if this was me?
Yeah.
How would I want you to greet me? I want you to greet me with warmth in your eyes, with warmth in your heart, with, you're here. I know what you've been through is really difficult, but we are going to walk side by side with you now, and we are going to help you create the pathway to freedom, whatever that looks
So
like.
describe
for you.
that for us, weekly or
Yep.
monthly.
So basically what happens is someone comes into shelter. So the referrals come from the domestic violence line, from Link to Homes, and from other services in our area.
I was
So,
wondering
and
about
people
that.
can
How they
self-refer.
even know
People
to come
can ring
to
up
you.
the phone
Yeah.
and just and refer to us. So that's a great thing.
Police too, like
Police,
Yeah, right.
we take referrals from everywhere. But
Okay.
someone can just say, I want to go to Northern Beaches Women's
Okay,
Shelter,
so
that's
got
fine.
it. Right.
And, family, friends, carers, anyone can connect with us. So when someone comes in, the first step is that we do an intake and assessment. Intake and assessment is about that person going, is Northern Beaches Women's Shelter right for me? So it's not us going, this is the right service for you. It's actually the person making that decision. Yep, what you're doing there is suits me. I want to come in and I want to access service and support. When someone comes in, we really want to make sure we don't bombard them with everything day one, because they're already feeling overwhelmed. They're usually carrying a lot of stress and anxiety. So we try and simplify the intake process when someone comes in, not to give them multiple pieces of paperwork. There's some things we need to get, which is consent. There's some basic things we need. But day one is, you're here now, we want you to rest. We want you to feel that we're here to support you. And really it's about welcoming that person and making sure they've got lovely food, that these are the beautiful new clothes that you can have access to. If you haven't got your PJs, that's fine. We've got some beautiful pajamas here. We've got beautiful gift packs for you here. So it's really about creating that I'm welcome. We do talk to them about what the service can offer. We allocate professional staff to support that person, so they've got their own professional worker that sits side by side. I mean, we're looking at them around what is their transformation or what are their goals. So it's really about what is eligibility and what is possible. And our job is to create the opportunities, and we hope that the women then take on those opportunities and then start to
Do you
move
take them
towards
in
change.
there and on the spot, or you're saying if there's people get turned away, or
Look,
do they have to?
I've got to be honest with you. We are in the safety business, so it comes safety first. So,
I was about to say that.
It's a one-on-one situation.
Huge.
It's kind of like we
Right,
don't have
yes.
it's not a
Yes.
one-size-fits-all rule.
Okay,
It's, for me, I have housed families in accommodation while they're waiting to come in, knowing that would be safer if we didn't have a vacancy. So we've got to be solution focused. We've got to think about, if I've got a room coming up in a week, what can I do within that week? Can I work with another service provider to make sure that person is housed before they can come into our service? So that's that collaboration. That's that Northern Beaches teams work.
You're a perfect CEO because collaboration's everything.
It
Yes.
is.
Yeah.
So I'm the chair of the Northern Beaches Domestic Violence
Well done.
Network and the co-chair of the Homelessness Interagency.
Of course you are.
DB
Yes, yeah.
Network. Oh, yeah, I know. I know.
Well, I've got the right
I'm loving
person
you.
there
No,
I'm
but,
loving
who
you.
steps up and does it
Oh my
with
gosh.
compassion.
Exactly.
Oh,
You know,
we're
it's
so
beautiful.
lucky. We are blessed because we've got 32 organisations on the Northern Beaches that work closely together. They are gold. And it's not about holding the resident as this is the person that's accessing my service. It's about what are your needs. We work with Lifeline around counselling. We have street side medics come into service if they need GP help. We've got the financial counsellors coming from Lifeline into our services. So what we do is core 100% response. We do on site. What we don't have, we bring in.
That's wonderful.
And that's that. It's called wraparound model of support. So it's actually looking at the person is central to what we're providing. The needs, we're not going to do things we're not specialised to do. We're homelessness specialists, we're DV specialist workers. We don't know everything. We can't do everything. We stick to what we know, and what we don't know, we bring in.
So
that
what
the
you
women
do
are
know
helped.
is who? Like what sort of professionals do you have in-house, for example?
Oh, gosh.
Just creating the same picture
100%.
for
So,
everyone.
All my staff have a minimum qualification of a Cert 4, irrespective of if they're doing administration work, if they're working in donations. The clinical team have social work, social science, psychology. I've got an OT on my team.
OT
physio,
being
occupational therapist.
Ryan on the
yeah,
team,
physio,
yeah.
So it's kind of a mix. Tertiary trained is
Yes.
really important
Yes.
because quality
Nursing,
practice.
you've got nursing staff?
We don't
Or-
have nursing
right.
staff.
Okay,
We
I'm just
don't
trying to
have-
get correct
No,
the
we don't
picture,
have
yeah.
nursing staff.
Okay.
I suppose we would see that medical professionals as medical specialist support, but
We'd
we
bring in,
work with
yeah.
we work with a lot of. I mean,
So it's probably
Northern
more
Beaches
counselling,
Hospital-
is it in-house?
Yeah,
I would
yeah,
imagine.
Yeah,
And how long do
psychosocial
people,
support
I
and
know
counselling.
it must vary so much, sort of like Di was sort of saying, tell us about this sort of thing. How long on average or would people sort of stay there? Or do you have goals?
44 days.
Is, okay.
Oh, is that, why is
Yes.
that?
That's
If
okay,
you don't
just
mind
tell
me
us,
asking.
yeah.
So crisis accommodation, most people, because we get statistical evidence, and I
Yes.
know 100% is
Yeah.
44 days. So when someone,
Okay.
and it's normally up to 3 months. I mean, that is what crisis accommodation is meant to be.
right.
So crisis accommodation is up to 3 months stay. But for me, it's about in that first 3 months, we're actually working out what is the next stage. So it's like, what is this is step one.
Right,
This is
gotcha.
helping you settle out of the
You're
crisis.
in the real frontline emergency.
The trenches.
Aren't you? When
100%,
that
trenches.
comes,
100%, 100%.
you're in the headlights.
Right
You've got
on.
them.
Step
Yeah.
2 is transitional housing, which is 6 to 12 months, which is a little bit longer. And then step 3 is
Sorry,
outreach.
so when you say transitional housing, they're 44 days, am I right with the correct
Crisis.
term? Crisis.
Yeah.
Then transitional is generally with you.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that can be 6 to 12
That's
months.
correct.
Okay. This is
Yeah.
great. I'm loving this. Okay.
Yeah. So it's kind of like they call it continuum of care. Sorry,
Yeah.
I'm not, talking to practice-wise, but continuum of care is you come into a crisis service, and that's the first step to healing and recovery. It gives the person time to settle. They've got a roof over their head. Everything within their accommodation is provided: the food, the bedding, all those
That
sorts
just
of
must
things.
be
So-
such a comforting thing for so many people.
Oh my gosh,
you know,
I love
I-
hearing that.
Soothing.
I hope so.
Soothing.
We work hard at that, so I hope
Yes.
so. Then the next thing is if the person has eligibility to stay in the Northern Beaches or needs more time with us, then we look at the transitional housing options. And we have transitional housing properties, we have transitional housing beds. But I suppose if someone comes to the Northern Beaches and they want to be housed in Wollongong, we're not going to be setting them up in transitional in Northern Beaches.
No.
We'll be referring them to a service in Wollongong. So it's kind of like making sure we don't set people up to,
And I guess also too that you don't want to sort of set them up that then they never ever want to leave.
Well, yeah,
which must be the hard thing. They probably do.
It's funny, Nicola, I was just thinking the same. I'd be so comfy, having
I
loved,
know, going,
nurtured,
I want all these communities.
feeling safe.
You've got everyone
Very
there
difficult.
going, it's hard to get it back into the real world.
Why, now you've just said that, as a matter of interest, what is the turnaround on this? How many success rates are there as a consequence of crisis housing and transitional housing with you guys? What's the success rate?
Well, I'll tell you, in any year we support 62 people in our crisis accommodation. We support 150 women or women with children in our transitional, and we support 100 women with outreach. That's 1 year of work with us. We have a 98% outcome rate of people that are putting in planned goals.
Oh, come on.
Well, you're doing something right.
I was not
outcome
expecting that, only because you're dealing with like so many varied, issues and the umbrella of mental health. Yeah. And you give me 98%. That's just, wow, talk about, you must go to bed at night. This is a good news
story, isn't it? That's not me.
It's listen to her.
The staff.
It's the team. I love
they
it.
are. They're incredible because
it's the community.
We are walking at the women's pace, not at our pace. Do you know what I mean? So if you come in and you say, you know what, I just want to work with this part first, that's fine. If we try and fast track things or do tick and flick or, we might know the pathway out, but it's actually about working at the woman's pace and the woman with the child's pace. So, if it means they need longer, then we need to look at longer options so that they can have that time, because no two brains are the same. We all have a different process in our healing journey. And as you say, not everyone goes the full journey, but when they come to us, we are 100% dedicated to whatever they need, and whatever we can provide, we will. And they leave with a lot of information, a lot of resourcing. And, I suppose we don't always know where someone decides to land, but we do our very best with every single person.
And you sort of think, people coming together as well too, that they can maybe ever learn from and meeting other people as well, so they're not feeling on their own. And it's that thing of being homeless, it can happen to any one of us.
It's true.
And it's sort of the thing there, life can throw curveballs.
I hate the term, but shit happens.
But it really does.
When you least expect it
and
sometimes.
I guess then you would have seen faces of people who you'd sort of think, I would never have thought this would happen to them. And I guess every single person is that person going, no one expected to be in this situation.
There are 3 steps to homelessness. You have a health issue, you have an employment issue, you have a relationship breakdown.
Say it again. Health,
employment, relationship.
So health comes under the banner of mental health as well.
Well, physical health. I have women that are recovering from breast cancer who can't work, who lose their tenancy and are homeless. Shameless. Absolutely shameful.
Apparently it's the fastest growing form of homelessness in Australia.
Women?
Is women. Older women.
What other stats on that?
Financial advisor was... Roger Montgomery was saying, we're talking about women in finance.
Domestic violence is the leading cause of homelessness for women and women with children.
Is it? Yeah.
Women over the age of 50 are the fastest growing cohort of homeless people. In 2016, there was a 30% increase of people presenting, and that's my age group.
Yes, and a lot of our
60s.
listeners are in this age group, so we all know, and it can be anyone.
And it can be in your community.
And Narelle, why do you think that is?
Well, I think that, sadly, women who perhaps have been family carers, brought up their children, they don't have as much work history, they don't have as much super, there's a relationship breakdown, and they're not in a financial position that perhaps they should be, because as carers, we should be on the money.
And that's what, we talk about that. We do actually have a monthly finance series too, because it is such a thing. And we want to have, like a lot of people head in the sand. We didn't want to talk about money beforehand. But it's those real things, and also thing going, and you can start again. It might mean that of starting from rock bottom and a spot you didn't want to. But I'm so wonderful to hear services like that you can also give guidance there and give support.
Yeah.
To
Do you
that,
do
which
any
is wonderful.
training on that arena as a matter of interest in the financial arena?
Absolutely. So I have.
Oh, how wonderful!
Excuse me, can
this
I
is
say
so good.
no stone left unturned here?
Yes, I know.
Seriously.
One of my staff is a financial counsellor on our team.
Yeah,
and I think the thing is, when you were talking about community,
yes,
I cannot tell you how much the community rally to support. I have fantastic legal organisations to say we want to come and do wills for all the women. It's not a priority for someone who's got financial stress to think about, I need to get my will in order or whatever. Just, even just to have that for many years to come.
spend money to get somebody to write up a will.
Dentistry work, that might be the priority when you're, thinking about how am I going to pay my rent or what's my next meal.
And you're the last one. Sometimes they give everything else to their children or whatever and they're not to themselves.
I think the other thing, sadly, and this is something that I've been really confronted with in the Northern Beaches, that we have women that have assets that they can't live in because of domestic and family violence or relationship breakdowns. So they're forced to leave the family home because it's not safe for them to live there. And those court processes can take a very long time.
Yes.
And, that's where I feel very blessed that our service can provide support to those women or women with children for whatever period that they need.
What intrigues me is we're hearing about all these various services that make up the Northern Beaches Women's Shelter.
Yeah.
How much government support is there versus donations?
Look, we're super lucky. We just got government funding for single adult women, which is really good.
Much? You don't have to tell me exact, but is it worth a few noughts in there?
Yeah, so Northern Beaches Council give us a subsidy, a grant of $64,800 per year.
Right.
And we get similar funding from Department of Communities and Justice.
Right.
Although one of our properties, we rent 4 houses and that cost $122,000 a year to rent the houses. So let's say that the rent covers that funding. It costs $1.9 million to run our service fee each year.
That's good to put that into perspective. 1.9, okay.
1.9 million.
All right, okay.
And I suppose you're looking at housing 70 people in any one day, which is a lot of people that we house in any one day.
Yeah.
And I suppose, one of the biggest things, and I suppose this is where I really hold firm, we want to make sure that we're doing everything with quality and we're not cutting any corners. Like, where possible, we want to make sure that, everything is brand new or new. It's like that message. You don't want to be coming into a service and we don't want to be sort of scrimping and scraping for things. So we've really held firm around beautiful things in our houses, beautiful bedding, take the stuff when
That's
you
lovely,
go.
isn't it?
Let's set someone up with a beautiful kitchen pack and all the things that they need, because I feel like, we used to, when someone moves into a new unit, we used to try and scrap around and get things. Now we put the call out. We want the person to move into the property like you and I move into our little forever home and go, oh my gosh,
and for a long
fantastic.
time now, they're actually probably getting, experiencing joy for the first time and safety for a long time, and how those simple things of making it even look sort of aesthetically better are big things as well. Now, we're talking about also with volunteering. Can people volunteer? And what are the positives of that, Narelle?
And what, you were just saying lawyers and dentists and whatever, but what about someone that's not qualified? How can they get involved?
Oh my gosh. So we have 32 volunteers. There is no way Northern Beaches Women's Shelter could run without the incredible volunteers we have. We have men volunteers as well as women volunteers. There's volunteering for events. There's volunteering to come and do gardening, walking. We have meditation, yoga. So all of our groups that are supported, the volunteers support with that. We have crocheting. Literally, when you think about person-centred model, it's actually about what are your interests, and then we set up the group or have the group that will be aligned with your interests. So it's an ever-changing space. Gardening maintenance, you can never have enough gardeners. Like picking up donations sometimes, that's just things, the professional workers really need to be in front of the front-facing work. So anything that can support the running of our operation. Sometimes it might be getting a donation of food that can be brought back to the shelter. We've got someone who comes and helps clean our kitchen so our women don't have to spend all the time cleaning. we've got cleaners, but at Narrabeen House we have a shed. Beautiful kitchen, and a volunteer comes in and just spruces it up for them once a week. It's just
Bless
a
them
lovely
all.
thing.
Yeah.
You know, getting
Bless them
furniture.
It's such a wonderful thing.
Oh, yes. Yeah, there's so many.
now
And then the
coming-
professional volunteers as well, like, you know, that would help out, which
And
is
what
great.
about coming back to donations?
Yeah.
How much of that 2 million or 1.9 is donated?
Yeah, it's about 1.8.
Okay, now
how's that?
Now that
Okay.
makes me really happy on so many levels.
Yeah.
In what ways do people just randomly? For example, Narrabeen House. My God, the Moran fan are beautiful. But how do people donate, and how do you go about
raising money?
Seriously.
We have the Northern Beaches Women's Shelter Gala each year, which is like our major fundraiser. So, you know, even people in the community come to our events, support our events. So that's one way that you can contribute to our organisation.
I suppose they're always a lot of fun, those Northern Beaches ones.
Okay.
I've been to a few.
Seriously.
Look,
And it's such a great cause.
Isn't it?
You want to
Exactly.
Oh, absolutely. You know, we've got our golf day coming up on the 7th of August.
We're
which is-
excited.
I know,
It's our
we
first
are.
one.
Yeah,
Oh
we're
my
gonna be
gosh.
No, we will be.
Can't
We're
wait.
MCs.
I
Can't
know.
wait. Yeah.
Yeah.
We are so
There'll be a
excited
giggle.
about
We
having
tell a
you
few
guys.
golf stories.
Oh, I'm so glad about that. We look, and that's, you know, our community. You know, the Northern Beaches Women's Shelter is for community by community. That's who we are. So, you know, having lots of people involved with our organisation, one, it gets the message out. People understand the causal effects of what's happening, and then people can choose to provide support however they want. If they want to give food cards that go to the women, that's fine. If they want to donate to pay for someone to do a specific course, if they want to pay for someone to have dental work, 96 cents in every dollar goes directly to a woman that comes to my service.
That's really good to know.
That's incredible.
96
'Cause
cents.
you don't often hear that from charity. Or
No,
people who
you
take
wouldn't,
in
because
donations.
they have big, long-tiered management, and there's just me and my team. There's 14.
Wow.
We've got
Wow.
3 services.
I'm just thinking of coordinating all of that.
Yes, yeah.
Hi, I'm a gardener. Where's a rake? You know, that does my head in. It's like, oh my God, where do you start?
Yeah.
And look, we have a
Bless.
donation coordinator and volunteer coordinator, Kim, who's just amazing. You know, we have the shop that's free that the women can go, and volunteers manage the shop. We have the food shop where they can get their food, and volunteers help manage that. It's kind of like an organisation, but it's built on really tight roles and responsibilities. So volunteers, when they come to the service, they know what they're doing, they know what their role is, they know exactly where they're going, so their time is valued. And, you know, we only lose like 1% of our volunteers, so we have good retention because we're looking after them. We want, you know, you're part of the NBWS.
They're
it's a
part of a
beautiful,
loving
yes.
group,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
they
exactly.
feel connected.
And it's like, you know, we're sort of saying, you know, help in your backyard. And we do know it's a global issue. Do you ever sort of like, you know, stay in contact or see how other organisations work globally, or is it just sort of like, you know we have to look after our own first, and then it's that sort of
Like your
triple
oxygen.
thickness. Yes.
Yes. Well, I must admit, I don't have a lot of spare time, so
Yes,
I'm
yeah.
on the little
Yeah.
treadmill at
Yes,
Northern Beaches.
yeah.
But I
It's just
will
interesting
say,
how-
we've got a domestic violence conference coming up, which is on the 12th of August, which I'm running. And one of the things is
course you
that
are.
there's a documentary called Unanswered Calls. And one of the things that Unanswered Calls, the whole focus of the documentary that was developed in Victoria, was really about looking at all of the other services around the world. What are they doing in Sweden?
Yes.
What are they doing in America? The focus point is a lot around in the eyes of the child, because I think that's an area where we really need to improve, because even from statistical reporting perspectives, when a woman comes in, the woman is identified, the children are accompanying the woman. What we're trying to see, that transformation now, to make sure that children are seen as clients or residents in their own right. So making sure that they have their own care plans, that they are able to give feedback. They want to talk about what activities and all those sorts of things that they want to see happen in the service. So I suppose that's the biggest shift that I can see that we're trying to implement. As far as globally, like most of the things like the person-centred, trauma-informed, you know, the meanwhile use, it all comes out of places like the UK and America, where they're a little bit ahead of us in Australia.
That's interesting.
And I think, you know, just this big new change around meanwhile use, you know, like, you know, we've got lots of buildings and products that are not being used at the moment. Can they be used to help, you know, organisations have art spaces or, you know, pop-up cafes or whatever? multiple opportunities, you know, to help homelessness services, not just for housing, but for other areas as well.
Are there any sort of messages that you could give to, I don't know, sort of someone's listening and, I don't know, they're on the borderline there, or if there's domestic violence or anything like that? Is there anything you must have spoken and dealt with so many people, but sort of what's not okay, and when is it time to leave, or when is it? I mean, have you got anything you can sort of share?
That's a really
I know I'm throwing a lot at you.
No, that is a really good question.
Some people hanging there for years.
Really,
you know, I think I would come from a perspective, if I was a friend and someone disclosed something to me, sometimes you think, oh my gosh, this sounds really heavy, and people don't tend to want to get involved, and they tend to, you know, there's this old thing called disclosing
don't
distance.
ask, don't talk, you
so
need to.
someone discloses something and then it's like, oh gosh, I don't want to get involved. But there are amazing services on the Northern Beaches. Northern Beaches Council have a directory of all services. You could, you know, if you can encourage someone even just to go to their GP, go and see a counsellor. It's step one. If you're not feeling emotionally well because of whatever situation, whether it relationship, whether it mental health, whether it physical health, if you can get that step one of treatment, you're creating a pathway to help.
Bravo. You know, that's really good to hear that.
And you're
because
opening
sometimes
the window for change.
you don't know what to do. As I was saying with financial thing, you don't know what to do. It's the first thing is to ask a question, and even if it is at your doctor. And, you know, then you might get another one there. But
first protocol.
Yeah, 100%. We do training with GPs around domestic violence, you know, because we know that older women disclose to their GP. The GPs are now connected to our services. That's super important. You know, younger people might go through school counsellor. Like, we're working as a unit. You know, I suppose what we want people to do is, if you think something's not quite, it probably isn't. Go and talk to someone, because if you access any professional service or support, if it wasn't me, I'd make sure I found the right service. So that's that helping professional.
And that can just turn things around.
A simple thing like that, isn't it bizarre?
Well,
so tell me something, I'm intrigued.
Yeah.
How much, I mean, where it comes to the administration with something like this, my head just bursts. Like, how much red tape have you got to confront and deal with?
Yeah, there is quite a bit. So really excited to say, last year we were accredited with the Australian Service Excellence Standards accreditation, which is just amazing.
Huge.
There was quite a bit of paperwork involved in that. And
well deserved, yes.
Yeah, it is. I mean, you know, all of our documentation and reporting is obviously, you know, there's a lot of legislative compliance that we have to adhere to, which we want to adhere to because we want to be a good service.
Yeah.
I think the thing is that the professionals, they just like hum. You know, it's just part of their work. You know, it's like when you are doing this, and all my team have kind of been doing this for quite a long time, there's the face-to-face and then there's the documenting stuff, and it's just part of the work. You know, you just bill it in. And it's a really important part of the work, because if my notes were subpoenaed and that helps someone in a court process or whatever, you know, that training part is really important, and the professionals have all those skills.
Well, there's so much there. And also, I want to go back to you just personally too, with all this, what you're dealing with. What do you do for downtime? You know, like, do you, I don't know, walk the beaches at the Northern Beaches, or what's your...
Oh, my gosh.
You know,
well, I just went away with my 6 girlfriends to the Blue Mountains that are all counsellors, and that was amazing.
Oh, that would have been
so
great
fun.
fun.
So my cup's feeling very full. Well, you know, what stays on tour?
I love
That's
it.
right.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, the mountains is fun. We did that.
It's exactly, you can't beat friends. You know,
Did
we always
you
say
rent a
community
house,
friendship.
or-
We were all together. It was an accommodation. We were all
that's
together. That was
great.
super.
Love
But
that.
I like
It's
to
so
run.
important for everyone just to hear
Good
those
girl
sort of
running.
stories.
Brilliant.
You know,
Like to run, love my dog. You know, I think you've got to make sure that you have that balance. I have an amazing family, and it's just getting your cup full and knowing when I need to stop and you know, have some supervision or whatever. You know, you've got to look after yourself so you can look after
because
other
it's a
people.
huge
Nicola
position,
says,
you know,
what
like
oxygen
that.
mask?
On
Yeah,
first,
exactly. And I can help everyone.
And
I
you need
love
to do that
that.
come back
'Cause there's
chilled and
more
everything
to
too.
it.
Well, we're going to have all our sort of like notes and everything on our show notes here, and you know, so you've got to, okay, yeah,
I know you
got to,
I've got
I
lingering question. I've got to get them out.
Yeah.
I want to hear.
Yeah.
What's one of your high points of being the CEO of the Northern Beaches Women's Shelter?
Oh my gosh.
Maybe one that's gone on to do something, someone that was a resident?
100%. There is one particular lady that I remember doing, and it was when, you know, I was doing the intake with her, and she came into the service. And I remember sitting down with her, and because we have a thing called Barbecue Friday, so each Friday we come together and we share a meal, and it's really about sharing our wins. And she sat with me and she said to me, Narelle, who are these people that provide all this beautiful donations and care? Who are they that care for us so much when perhaps the people that are meant to care for us don't? Hearing that has stuck with me forever.
Can you say that again? So my brain's hurting. Just say that again for me.
She said, who are these people that are giving and providing all of these things for us and caring for us so much? And she was talking about the women there, when the people that are meant to care and provide for us haven't done that. And it was just like...
Bingo.
It wasn't a high, but it was really like this is the importance of the work. It's like that sticks in my head every day, knowing that that person felt the community's love. That's the high. It's that if you were feeling really low and you came to a service and then you saw these amazing volunteers and staff and all these people trying to do everything to help build you up, that's the high.
You know what? And that's where it's a good news story, and it's great. It's beautiful.
I usually get goose. I've got triple right now.
Yeah, and it's great for everyone to hear stories like that too, because you said at the start in the intro too, you give hope and real transformation as well. And
98%.
I know, and we have to look up. We're all human beings on planet Earth, sharing this time together in this unique, crazy way. We have to look after one another.
You want a sense of purpose? Start volunteering, guys.
It's such an important
so
thing.
Rewarding.
Look after
the
those.
greatest gift is giving the gift of help to some other human.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely, because whatever you give, you get back tenfold.
Absolutely.
I remember one thing, and I suppose
I
don't know if I've got time.
We love that you have.
One of our volunteers, Val, she's just amazing. She is, and this is a perfect example of that caring and love. So she comes and does the gardening, and she cut back the tree and kind of made it all nice. And the next time she came to shelter, she saw a woman sitting under the tree reading a book and getting shade from that tree. And that's the kind of thing, like you can't put a
price on that. No, you can't.
And that's her knowing that what she did just gave that
it's
woman that little bit of peace.
It's a flourishing story.
Isn't it? It really is. And here's that woman feeling safe. I know. I love it because she's feeling safe. She's feeling relaxed. Exactly. She could probably for the first time there, and she can just be engrossed in this book. Mind's off everything else of all the other worries. Is he coming home to all these things here? Yeah. And it's just so beautiful. So thank you so much for everything that you do.
Rethink.
And for everybody, the stories here. We need to hear more and more of this and help out in so many ways. And it's great news that we can help in so many ways.
I had so many questions for you. I got so carried away with where you led this interview, and it was
just been beautiful.
A gorgeous flow. And I hope someone listening today, even if there's one person, Narelle,
100%,
that is listening now, who's able,
you can reach out,
retiring, looking for a sense of purpose,
or if they're scared and listening and don't even know, because there's all things going on in everyone's life too. So there's so many ways. If you are one of the ones there, and we all know people that way. So it's such a great thing that there is people, there is community there is hope. Ask that question. There is someone to call, someone who will care for you.
Thank you, Narelle, and all your team.
So thank you so much. Now you're going to get hit with our signature questions here.
Oh wow! Okay.
Oh yes.
More questions.
I'm actually dying to hear this one. What makes you happy?
Look, I think I will say seeing people move through change, because when someone comes to perhaps the service, or just watching that process of, I can't do it, I can do it, I am doing it, this is it, this is my new life. Like, that is just the most beautiful thing I've ever witnessed. It's like the gold in someone, and we've just got to help bring it out. And when that happens, honestly, job done. Put that on my,
That's
she
lovely.
died helping, that's fine.
Yeah.
That would be amazing. You know what I mean? It's like that people are so incredibly courageous and gifted and
resilient ultimately.
Exactly, and it is.
More resilient than we think we are.
Mm.
And if you could share a back fence with anybody on planet Earth, who would it be, Narelle?
100%. It will be Mel Robbins because
Yeah.
We'll be on a
Yes,
branch.
yeah. Tell us why.
100%. Well, I just feel like when I
Let
her
Yes.
daughter,
Yeah, let them. Yeah,
her
exactly.
daughter
I
came
love
up
it.
with the concept, and I thought, she transformed that concept into something that was so powerful for so many people. And it's quite a simple concept, but it's helped so many people. I love it. I love that. And even as a parent, we take on all this stuff and then let them. It's okay. We don't have to do everything. And I
Let
think
them
that's
and
a
then
good
let
message.
me.
And it was
isn't
her daughter that
I know.
initiated
And
it.
that was that bit for me. It's like, oh my gosh, there was
Bingo.
gold there.
Yeah.
And she saw it and she heard it.
She
And
didn't sleep all night and went,
no,
that's gold.
yeah.
And the most simple thing.
That's
isn't
beautiful.
It?
No one said that. I love that one.
Yes, yeah.
What's our
Well,
last one?
what advice would you give your 20-year-old self?
If you had
Oh,
an
yeah,
opportunity.
yeah. Which wasn't all that long ago,
there's
was
so
it?
many varied answers to this, so you're not going to shock
yes,
us.
yes.
What advice would I? Do you know what? Focus on where your passion is, because I feel like every day I go to work, but it doesn't feel like work to me. I love what I do. I feel so privileged and blessed to do what I do. I love the people I work with, the residents that I've come in contact with. There is no greater feeling in getting to go to NBWS every day. Honestly, I love
Giving
it.
back.
It's just a
So
wonderful
go where your
thing.
passion is. Even to a 20-year-old is so
100%.
wonderful
Yeah.
to lead you that way. Well, thank you
I
so
so
much for
enjoyed
coming
this
on.
interview.
It's been
Oh,
great,
honestly.
and
Yeah.
So
reach
much.
out and don't
refreshing.
rate and review. And Dinah, come on, we've got Dinah's her own rating here
you
now.
all
This
know
is
what
just
it
gonna
is.
be- Let them come on. What is it?
Our ratings is out of 5,
Yeah.
and you're 98 out of 5. It just has to be. Seriously.
And I reckon
It has to
soon,
be
soon
seriously.
that's going to turn to 100.
No, exactly. No,
Thanks so much.
Great,
Yeah,
great fun.
back
I've
in your
enjoyed
ears
every minute
next
of it.
week.
And
Yep.
bless you all for listening. And don't forget to get out there and help in your community.
Yeah.
Doesn't take much. Ciao.
Ciao, ciao. Thanks for listening.